here we are again at the Alpha Male 2.0 podcast. I am Caleb Jones. I make a multi-six-figure location-independent international income while dating multiple attractive women. And I show men like you how to do the same thing. Today, I'm going to talk about something, and I'm going to give you an opinion and a standpoint and some context that you have never heard before from anyone else. I am reasonably confident in saying that. I am pretty sure that after I tell you what I'm about to tell you, you're going to say, "What the hell? I've never heard that." I'm going to tell you the opposite of what you have been told by just about every other dating guru, red pill guy, pickup artist guy, relationship guy, probably that you've ever heard in your life. I'm going to give you the opposite, and it's because I'm right. So that is the concept of when you are at the point in your life where you are looking for a serious long-term girlfriend or wife. However you want to define the word wife. I define the word wife as a woman you're in a sexual, romantic relationship with who you live with full time. I don't care what documentation you've signed or what the laws are or what you've promised. When you live with your girlfriend full time, you're living the lifestyle of a married man, so I call that person your wife, and I call you married, quote unquote, even if you're not legally married. So for the rest of this podcast, when I use the term wife, that's what I mean. So when you are looking for a serious, long-term girlfriend and or a wife, someone to settle down with, I am not talking here about FBs, I'm not talking here about dating, I'm not talking about MLTRs, I'm talking about when you are ready to pick that one special girl to either date long-term, 5 years plus, and or settle down with, okay? And that is when most guys, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've had several guys in the last few months bring this up to me or ask me about this, and all these scenarios, I go, oh, no, you're thinking about this all wrong. And that is when you start thinking about, what does she bring to the table? What are the aspects that she has that she can bring to this relationship to make this relationship better or to make my life better? What are these wonderful qualities that she has that can enhance my life? And that is the typical way that men view this. That is also the way that they are told to view this. If you watch a lot of red pill content, pickup artist content, traditional dating content, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pull out this little checklist, just like an over 33 woman on a first date, and go down this checklist of, well, how smart is she? Did she go to college? How wealthy is she? What does her debt look like? How is her relationship with her parents? How pretty is she? How does she dress? Is she hot but not too hot? All these other factors, and that's what you're taught to do. And I'm about to teach you, and I'm about to show you how to look at this in an entirely different way, a way you've never been told before. Okay. I will give you an example, at least a rough example. I think, in terms of men now, I'm not talking about women, I'm talking about men, dudes. In terms of men, there are two types of love. When you love a woman, a romantic love now. There's two types. There is, you love a woman because of what she brings to the table, because of what she brings to your life. And there's another kind of love where you love the woman, irrelevant of what she brings to the table. Two kinds of love. Now, I have been married twice. I'm on my second marriage, hopefully my last. And so when I was a beta male, I fell in love with a woman when I was a young, stupid, beta male, I was 24, 25 years old. And I married this person, and I fell in love with her. And it was the first kind of love. It was the kind of love where I loved her for what she brought to my life. The reason I loved her was because she was a good wife. She was very domesticated. She was an amazing cook. I gained so much weight being married to this woman because she was so good at making food. She would make things like lasagna that would taste as good as a fancy, 5-star Italian restaurant. She would make her own homemade pizza from scratch. She'd make the bread, and it was amazing, better than any pizza you've had in your life. Turkey and chicken and all these. Every night I went home to her, it was a new exciting event on what she made for dinner because she was so good at this. She was very aesthetically talented. She had a lot of handyman skills. She could decorate a house and actually design her own stuff with her own tools in the garage, like a man, and create these decorations that look like they were professionally done by a New York fashion designer. I mean, it was amazing. She was so good at this stuff. Another thing is that she was, at least I thought at the time, my opinion is a little different now, but I thought at the time she was a good mom in that she was a very rock solid, stable person. And so she was very good at putting on activities for the kids and things like that. There were other aspects of how she mothered kids that were not good, but that's beyond the scope of this particular podcast. Another thing about her, and this is very common with a lot of guys when they look to settle down with a woman, is that she was attractive, but not too attractive. What do I mean by that? Well, and many of you have this, I have noticed among men, most men, that they want their future spouse, live-in, girlfriend, what have you, to be good looking, but not too good looking. In other words, if she's got long blonde hair and big giant tits and her cleavage is hanging out, that's not, for most men, not all men, but for most men, that's not the kind of woman they want to take home to mommy and daddy and say, this is who I'm going to marry. Right? 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 I call this male ASD. Right? They want a cute girl next door. Now, you'll date the hot blonde chick with the big tits. You'll date her, you'll have sex with her, you might have her as an MLTR, but you're not going to settle down with her, are you? Because you're worried about what your mommy or your daddy or your boss at work or your best friends will say, or people on Facebook or Instagram. You're worried about their reactions. So you want her to be pretty, but not too pretty. You want her to be sexy, but not too sexy, right? Because that's not appropriate. Also, a lot of guys I've noticed in the manosphere type world are actually kind of concerned that if they marry someone who is really good looking, they don't want to do that because she might cheat. You know, if she's really hot, a lot of guys will like her and she might cheat. So I remember a guy, I'm not going to say his name, wrote a big article about his future wife, and he said, my future wife will be no better than a 7 in looks. Max 7. I don't want her to be too hot because I don't want other guys looking at her, and I don't want her cheating, and I don't want her flirting with other guys. Very alpha male 1.0 sensibilities. So, in other words, rewinding to my original point, this woman who I married in my mid-20s, I fell in love with because of what she brought to my life. That's what I fell in love with. I didn't necessarily fall in love with her, with what she brought to my life. And as many of you know, that marriage was bad. It wasn't miserable, but it was bad. It lasted 9 years. It should have lasted about 3, maybe 4. It lasted 9. I went through a divorce. Did not work at all. Very bad. So let me contrast that to my current marriage. My current marriage to my wonderful wife, Pink Firefly, I married for a very different reason this second time. I married because I loved her. Not what she brought to my life, just her. I loved her. I love her, I still do. Not loved. But when I first got together with her, when we first had the discussions in terms of settling down, I made that decision because I loved her, not necessarily what she brought to the table. And I will tell you for a fact, we have been together, we're going into our 8th year together. We've been married for 4 years. We are still super attracted to each other, very happy with each other, more so than I ever thought I would be with a woman in a relationship this consistently long. I'll give you a specific example, little example, but this is a kind of example what I'm talking about. I'm here, if you're watching the video version of this, I'm here in my temporary American office, and I'm living with Pink Firefly in her temporary American apartment before she moves with me back to Dubai in April. And so I need to get this office to work because you don't want to work in front of your wife. That's just not how it works. You won't be effective, you won't be productive. So I have this separate office where I work here every day, 6 days a week. And what she does is she drives me to this office. And I told her, you don't need to drive me to the office. She goes, no, I want to drive you. I want to pick you up and I want to drive you. I want to do it every day, unless I physically can't because I have an appointment. So she wanted to do this for me because she wanted to spend more time with me. And every morning when she drops me off down in that parking lot down there, we hug each other, and we hug each other tight. And we hug each other because we miss each other, and we want to keep being with each other. Even though I've been with this woman going into 8 years now. Does that describe most marriages? Does that describe most relationships that last 8 years? Does that describe most marriages post 4 years? I've talked about in my content about the 3-year mark. In traditional marriages, where at the 3-year mark, she starts to cut off the sex and get more bitchy and things like that. We're nowhere near that. Nothing like that is even close to have happened, even though we've been married for 4 years and together for over 7. That's the result of me settling down with a woman because of her, not because of what she brought to the table. I'm leading up to something. I don't want to say it yet. I want to use another example. This is an example from a movie. So in the 90s, there was a movie, Jerry Maguire, with Tom Cruise, and there's that famous line where he's looking at Renee Zellweger, that woman with the pinched face. Anyway, and he says, what does he say? He says, you blank me. What does he say? You complete me, right? It's a big line that, one of these social consciousness lines that everyone knows now. You complete me. Very well-written line to impress the women in the audience. Okay, very well-written line in terms of writing a romantic story. But a horrible attitude to have. And a few people years later started to catch on to this. If you say to a woman, you complete me, what are you saying? You're saying that you're an incomplete man. That's horrible. That's fucking dreadful. That is beyond beta male. You're an incomplete man, and the only way you can become complete is by finding a woman to complete you. That is beta to the extreme. And if that's you, boy, do you have a lot of work to do in your life. I don't need a woman to complete me. You know why? I'm complete on my own. I was 100% complete before I ever met Pink Firefly. Way before I met Pink Firefly. 100% in all areas of my life. I've said this before. I didn't need to settle down. I wanted to settle down. I didn't need to. I was just fine being single or with MLTRs and things like that for the rest of my life. I'd be perfectly happy doing that because I'm a complete person. I'm not looking for a woman to bring something to the table so I can feel more complete, so I can have a more complete relationship. Because of this, I don't give a shit what a woman, quote, brings to the table. I don't care. I literally don't care. I don't care how smart she is. I don't care in terms of how hot, if she's too hot or not hot enough. I don't care about what her intelligence is. I don't care about what her religion is. I don't care what her nationality is. I don't care how witty she is. I don't care how funny she is. I don't care how well of a homemaker she is. Will she make a good wife? Will she be able to clean the house well? Will she be a good mother and raise the children well? I don't care about any of these things, and I never have. Not since my conversion to Alpha Male 2.0 15 years ago. You know what I care about? Here's what I care about. Does she make me happy? That's it. That's all. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The only two requirements I have to date a woman in any capacity, FB, MLTR, or OLTR, so that would mean casual dating or serious girlfriend. That's what FB, MLTR, OLTR means. Non-monogamous, of course. The only two rules I have are you need to look hot, okay, hot to me, and you need to be nice. That's it. I have no other requirements. None. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care if your parents are divorced or whatever. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care. If you look good to me and you're nice to me, you're in. That's it. Now, if you look good and you're nice to me but you have a horrible life, then I'm probably not going to settle down with you because I don't want to bring chaos into my life. But assuming you live a normal, even keel life, I don't care what a woman brings to the table. I'm already complete. Guess what? I bring everything to the table. And I mean that. I'm Caleb Jones. I'm Alpha Male 2.0. I bring everything to the table. I bring all the motivation. I bring all the passion. I certainly bring the money and the finances. I bring the agenda. I bring the plan. I bring the 5 flags. I bring the confidence. I bring everything to the table. I don't need any woman to bring anything to the table because I've got a full table. Does that sound arrogant? Maybe, but I'm being honest. This is honestly how I feel. I don't need a woman to bring anything to the table because I already have a full table all by myself. I don't need a woman to be a good homemaker. I can pay a maid to do a better job than she ever could. Now I don't care about how good of a homemaker she is. I don't need her to be a good cook. I'm trying to lose weight. I don't give a shit about that stuff. I don't care what religion she has. I'm agnostic. I think religion is bullshit societal programming, so I really don't care. I'd almost prefer she didn't have one, but even if she didn't have a religion, I just still don't care. If she's agnostic, if she's atheist, if she's hardcore Christian, if she's a Buddhist, I don't care. I don't give a shit. Here's the other thing too. And you can tell if you've seen, videos or pictures of my wife, Pink Firefly. She looks like a Playboy playmate. I promise you, there are a lot of men who would never marry or settle down with a woman who looks like that, even if they think she's super hot. So they'll masturbate to her pictures and they'll date or they'll try to date someone that hot, but they will never bring home that woman to mommy because mommy might not think that's appropriate. And oh no, I don't want my mommy to think I'm inappropriate. I just can't, my fragile little beta male ego can't handle that. And yeah, when I introduced Pink Firefly to my parents, Pink Firefly wore something that was semi-revealing, not super sexy, but revealing enough with her big boobs popping out and her cleavage and her long platinum hair that goes down past her butt. And yeah, she looked really hot. And a lot of men, I know for a fact, would be super uncomfortable doing that. I don't care, because I don't care what she brings to the table, because I don't care what other people think about me. That's another reason why many of you are worried about what does she bring to the table. You're concerned about what your mommy and daddy and best friends and people on Instagram think of your new future wife or girlfriend. I don't fucking care what you think. So if I came home to my mom and dad with a woman with, and Pink Firefly doesn't have this, use an extreme example, size H boobs, where her tits are big as basketballs, I don't care if they have a problem with that. I don't give a shit. But a lot of you, probably most of you, would have a problem with that. And you would kind of say, not that one. She's hot, I love it, but I can't marry that. Right? Right. So if you are looking for the aspects, if you're trying to marry a woman or settle down with a woman for the aspects of what she has, that means two things. Number one, it means your self-esteem sucks. It means you think you're an incomplete person. It means you need to find a woman to bring the pieces that you're missing. I'm not missing any pieces. I've never looked for someone to complete me because I'm already complete. I didn't say I'm perfect. I said I'm complete. There's a difference. I didn't say I'm perfect. I'm saying I don't have any holes in my life or holes in my being or holes in my personality that I need filled by a certain woman who's really good at blank. I don't need that because I'm complete. And if you need a woman who has these specific aspects or else you won't settle down with her, that means you are admitting to yourself that you're an incomplete guy. That's pretty shitty. That's pretty shitty for your self-esteem, and I'm glad I'm not you. Problem number one. Problem number two, you are outcome dependent. You are concerned with, usually it's mom, your mom or your dad or your family or your friends or people on social media or people you went to high school with, what they will think about your future serious girlfriend or live-in girlfriend or wife. Maybe you might think that she might look too sexy and too slutty and you don't want people to think you're married to a slut. Oh no. Or the opposite, maybe you'll think that they will think she's not pretty enough. And that's worrisome. Maybe the type of woman you're really attracted to is the type of woman that many people in your social circle would not be attracted to, and you're worried about that. So you're going to marry or settle down with a woman who is not exactly how you like because you're outcome dependent, because you're being a pussy. Notice I don't have that problem. I married the type of woman who I think is super, super hot. My physical ideal. Barbie blonde with big boobies. Small size 0 skinny girl with the big tits and long hair, and that's who I think is hot, so that's who I married. Very simple. I don't care if my mom or dad or friends or people on the internet think that's bad or think that's stupid or think, oh, she has so much plastic surgery. I don't care what people think. It doesn't bother me at all because I'm outcome independent. I'm an alpha male 2.0. This is how this works. So if you are trying to evaluate a woman or women based on what they bring to the table, based on the aspects or skill sets or whatever they have, instead of loving them or wanting them for who they are, for being attracted to the woman herself and not giving a shit about those things, I suggest that you have a serious problem. And I also suggest that anyone you listen to on the internet who says the opposite, who gives you the standard advice of, you better make sure her parents are still married and make sure she has the same religion and make sure her skin tone is within 2 shades of yours and make sure she cooks and cleans very. Any guy saying that also has a problem. Yes, I'm not afraid of saying that. That person is also demonstrating the two things I just said. That person is saying he's an incomplete man and he's worried about what other people in his social circle think. The alpha male 2.0 is a complete man. Okay? The alpha male 2, not perfect. I didn't say perfect. So make sure you're hearing what I'm saying here. I didn't say the alpha male 2.0 is perfect. I'm nowhere near perfect, but I'm complete. The alpha male 2.0 has his location independent $85,000 a year income from his own business that he controls, or more in terms of income, and he is non-monogamous, dating multiple women, having sex with multiple women on a regular basis, so no one woman controls him. He is confident, he is outcome independent, he doesn't care what people think, he doesn't care about the details, he knows societal programming is bullshit, he knows obsolete biological wiring for the most part is bullshit, he doesn't let these things run his life. He runs his own life. He is a sovereign man. There's a reason I named my other company the Sovereign CEO. He runs himself, and he doesn't give a shit what other people think. That old quote from Game of Thrones, the lion does not concern himself with the concerns of the sheep. Yeah, that's kind of how this works. Do you think I gave a shit what my family would think in terms of how Pink Firefly looks? No, I didn't, and I still don't. Do you think I give a shit about what anyone in my audience thinks about what Pink Firefly looks like? I don't, and I never will. I don't care. I married Pink Firefly because I loved her, not because of what she brought to the table. Now, I'm also saying that she brought nothing to the table. There are some scenarios where it helps me to be married or to walk into a room with a woman who looks like that. It actually helps me. You could also argue it helps my brand, Alpha Male 2.0 brand, to have a wife who looks like that, who is skinny and pretty and with big boobs, and you could make that argument too. But that's not why I married her either. Trust me, I didn't walk around saying, I need to marry a woman who's good for my brand. Didn't give a shit about that. I wanted to settle down with a woman who I was attracted to, who made me happy, regardless of what she brought to the table, because I bring everything to the table. I don't care what she brings to the table. Am I saying Pink Firefly is dumb? No, she has 14, 15 years in the insurance industry, and she did very well in that industry, higher than average income. She's not dumb. And believe me, I had the opportunity to settle down with a dumb bimbo, someone who looked like Pink Firefly but was dumb, and I didn't do it for other reasons. It wasn't because she was dumb, other reasons. But am I saying that Pink Firefly doesn't have any skills? Of course not. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying you go out of your way to find a woman who brings nothing to the table. If that's what you think I'm saying, you haven't been listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying you find a woman to settle down with long-term, if that's what you want, long-term girlfriend or wife or live-in girlfriend, because she makes you happy, not your mom, not your best friends, not your dad, not people on the internet, you. She makes you happy. And frankly, those are the only two rules I have for Pink Firefly going forward in our marriage. The only two things I need from Pink Firefly, and these are really the only two things: look good and be nice to me. That's it. That's all. If she accomplishes those two things, we will be married forever. We will. Matter of fact, we've had discussions about this, not lately, but we've had it. We've been together a long time. She knows the only reason I would leave her. The only reason I would leave and end our relationship is because of drama. She was giving me drama as a pattern of behavior. Everyone can have a bad day. I understand that that's different. I'm talking about a pattern of behavior, then I would leave. I would not leave for any other reason. I wouldn't. As long as she stays looking good, and as long as she's nice to me, I'm gonna stay. But Caleb, she'll get older. So let me throw in that little piece. I've written articles about this, and I've been consistent about this. Getting older is okay, getting fat is not okay, okay? So if you age, if a woman gets older, that is fine with me. Of course, as Pink Firefly gets older, if we're still together when she's in her 50s and 60s and 70s, she's gonna look older. That's okay with me. That is fine. I have had sex with women who were much older than Pink Firefly is now. She's 42. I've had sex with women in their 50s who look fucking great. So I didn't care. I don't care about age. Age is not a big deal to me. That's okay. She's allowed to get older. That's okay with me. She can't get fat. I can't be attracted to someone who is super fat. I just can't. And what women don't understand is that men have to be physically aroused in order to have sex. Women don't. If you have some lube available, women don't need to be physically aroused, right? They don't need, but we do. So if you're huge and fat, I won't be able to get physically aroused, won't be able to have sex, that might be a problem. But barring that, that's it. Look good, and you can age, it's okay, and be nice. And that's it. Because I didn't marry or settle down with Pink Firefly because of what she brought to the table. I bring everything to the table. I bring everything I need to the table. I don't need any more. And sure, I will say that if you have that attitude and you settle down with someone who does bring some things to the table, then that's a nice benefit. There are some things she brings that are nice benefits, but that's not why I did it. That's not why I did it. Many of these things I didn't know until we were living together for a few years. So the next time you hear yourself say, well, what does she bring to the table, and what are the aspects of her in terms of evaluating her, whether or not she would make a good wife and a good... The next time you start saying that stuff, remember this podcast. You're saying you are an incomplete man, not good, and you're also saying you're worried about what other people think, really not good. And that's it. See you next podcast. Bye.